Okay, so we're back with the second video. We've created a test image ISO. Okay, transferred it over to the virtual machine, and I've actually went in and renamed that. But what we're going to do is we're going to boot the disk that we just made to show you what happens on the client side. Let me set this up here real quick. Okay, so we'll power this virtual machine on. Okay, so before you do that, of course, you're going to have your your session running. On the actual server side. And it's going to be accepting clients. It should say SRC1, MC1. It's going to come up just like it did before, echo off. And now it's preparing to run the Ghost32 executable. Now remember, we automated this process, so it's not just going to run the Ghost32 and then stop and wait for user input. Okay, so there comes Ghost. We see Ghost32 executed, attempting to contact the session. Okay, so we can see that we can talk to the server. Of course, where I'm in a virtual environment, I don't have any connection to that server, but I am able to ping it. But we can see here where it's waiting on clients to connect. Normally, it would automatically go through its process. But what I wanted you to see was on this screen, you can actually look under that blue section and see source, local drive 1. And then we can see that our Ghostcast session is set to 1. So the session ID is 1. And that'll give you a good idea. Now, along with that, we packaged in our new drivers and things of that nature. So, let's assume, for an instance, that we do want it to prompt us with the Ghost32 executable, and we want to manually do that. In order to do that, you would just simply take out everything I have highlighted, and then that's just going to run the Ghost32.exe, and then you have to choose everything from there. So for the bigger part, I think we've pretty much covered everything. How to get these drivers into our PE, how to build that PE, how to burn that PE out, using just your standard burn, and then how to test that capture so that we can bring that data back up. One other thing I wanted to go over was in your settings. If we look at our server, okay, it's going to tell us everything we need to know. Okay, so if we come in here and we see right here our mode is create. Alright, and we're going to use that first word here, create. And then if we wanted to reverse that, burn another disk for only restoring images, so every time it come up to the server it asks to restore, a restore session would be restore. So this would be the modification that we make to the batch. Restore. No other modifications are needed unless we change this name. Our session name. We could call our session. But up here when we create this server, we must call it session. And no matter if it's create or restore, of course I don't have an image that I can restore from, so I'm going to have to use the create button to show you. We choose our disk, and we can see here that we do meet here, except the only difference would be if you had an image already created on your desktop and you tried to restore that image, this wouldn't say mode equals create, this would say mode equals restore. So this is what it would look like here. And that's how you manipulate and modify this batch. If you are restoring an image, you know that that image isn't a sysprep image that will create new SIDs as it comes out of sysprep, then you're going to need to add another command in here that tells it to start GhostPE 32.exe. And that will change your SID automatically. You don't have to, run the command manually. It'll prompt after each completion or after the session completion. So each one of these tasks are invoked one right after another in the order they're listed. If you want to force a reboot, you can do that, or if you want to prompt the technician to enter a key, then you can do that. And I also put in here Control-C. Control-C will actually, instead of run machine, Control-C will take you back out to the command prompt, just in case you want to manually run GhostPE 32, because it is part of the disk. The command is still there, but you'll have to Control-C to manually input that command. Or take another disk to where you add this RAM so that it automatically runs after the session completion. You can run this to execute Ghost Block, and then at that point, press the key to reboot. So it's pretty much hands-free with the technician. Of course, you have to go over, rename the box once you walk GhostPE 32. That's not automated. So trying to automate as many things as possible and still remain within reason. But this opens up some more windows to show you that you are able to automate some of the stuff, and it's not as hard as you think it may be. So with that, that's the conclusion of video number 2. I may follow this up with something as I go through, but right now it looks like we pretty much covered everything.